and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we got security cameras have been installed. They're for visual recording and for security purposes only. Members of the public could be recording the meeting. Anybody have any amendments to the agenda? Don't sound like it? We'll go to opening comment. There's a zoning hearing scheduled for January 15th for 441 Big Knob Road. Ed, do you have anything on that?
Not yet.
Do you know what it is?
Do you remember?
Okay.
She had to fix her application, so she's coming in tomorrow to do that. The hearing will still be on the 15th. She wants a business, I think a hair salon.
That's the hair
Yeah, in
salon,
her
yeah.
basement, which is permitted, but because of a pool or the structure of her basement, she has to have more area than she's permitted, so that's what it's for.
Okay. Ed, you'd be okay to attend that?
Yes.
Okay. You get to argue next month if you want. Because it'll be my intent, if I'm still here, to reappoint you to zoning hearings. So, if you don't want it, you have an opportunity to argue that.
I think I was absent last time.
No, you wasn't, Okay, let's go to PSAT's conference. Jenny
Yes.
is planning on attending again this year. And has she been approved for that, Lori?
It's on the reorg agenda, but I
Well,
have,
it's,
I have planning on, I don't have the number of people or the people, I just have planning on.
And I understand, if I understand it right, you're going for your doctorate of planning?
Not a doctorate in planning. Through the PSATs, they have their own university, and one of the certifications you can obtain is on municipal planning. So it's not a planning degree or certification, it's just, or like a state certification, it's just a certification on the municipal level. So I get to do lots of in-person education, a lot of online education, so I've been, watching a lot of webinars, and a certain percentage has to be on planning, development, the rest is just on municipal government. So that's what I'm going to do over the holiday, and in January when I have lots of time when I'm taking care of patients is watching these seminars to get all my credits in.
So do you think you're gonna have all your credits by the April?
I have to have all my
Conference?
credits in by the end of January.
Oh, you do? You think
Yes.
you have that?
I am making my best effort to get them in. I have all of my in-person credits plus a little extra in-person are done. And now it's just I have 2 or 3 more webinars I have to watch. So I mean, it's possible.
Good.
When I can't sleep at night, it gives me something to do.
Get up in the middle of the night, watch the screen.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. I've
Well,
watched- not to everybody, but I
You
find it
might be the
fascinating.
most educated one on the board here. Early on in my time here, we did a lot of seminars here at the township, and the full board attended on all of them. I don't know how many credits we got, but we all did get credits. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that on behalf
Thank
of the township.
Actually, I remember when my first year on zoning, I attended a class.
Okay, good,
Class here. So, yeah, I remember that.
good.
Yeah, it was overwhelming. I think it was my first month.
Well, I hope you continue.
Thank you.
We do need
That's the
people
plan.
on top of the issues.
It's a plan.
Good. Any questions for Jenny? Okay, there being none, let's go to public comment. Anybody from the public wanna have a word? No? Okay. Then we can move on. Okay, we got minutes from November 21st. We need to approve them. Any comments? Okay, we need a motion to accept the minutes or make changes, one or the other. You weren't here, so you can't do it. I would recommend you don't do it.
I'll make a motion to accept the November 21st minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made in second, any questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes? Okay, thank you. We have no pre-applications for tonight. We have no preliminaries. Old business, anybody have any old business they wanna bring up? I don't have anything on the agenda. Okay, move on. We don't have any conditional use submissions. And that would take us to ordinance review. At last month's meeting, give me your name again, please.
Anthony Chambers.
Anthony. Brought to our attention, or I guess maybe, our zoning officer brought to his attention that he was in violation of the code. There was a lot of discussion on that at the last meeting of what his situation is. And we brought it to our planner to get his comments on it, as well as we got a report from our code enforcer, Owen Powell Consulting, and he gave a pretty good report of what he understands it to be. My understanding that the code officer, the zoning officer, and the manager are looking at all of the information, and they're not ready to give a report. So we're not gonna make any decisions tonight, although I would like our planner to give us a rundown of how he sees it.
Excellent. Thank you all. Yeah, John Wright again, with me tonight is Ashley Harris. Ashley has a lot of experience in the planning as well too, and has a lot of experience in terms of fowl and the domestication of livestock. So what we came with last time, Anthony, was correct that when somebody showed up on site for your neighbor, that they noticed that we were kind of in violation with the amount of chickens we kind of had on our property, correct? That's what
More or less, she just specified because of the rooster.
because of the rooster.
She was out back checking on a drain pipe, well, a drain lateral,
Correct.
and heard a rooster and just assumed. from my knowledge, he never sets foot actually on the property.
I believe what we discussed last time, we might have a coop that's capable of 30 animals, correcting me.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct that it's 22 that you currently have?
Yes.
On it, so.
But you don't have a rooster.
I do right now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have no issues getting rid of the rooster. That's not a
Yeah,
problem.
and I think we discussed that last time across the board, no matter what, the rooster
Okay.
was definitely not, and the enforcement and decision on that coming, forthcoming, so, kind of actually, if you wanna help me out here in terms of, first we have the limit of how many we're supposed to have, 'cause per ordinance, we're supposed to have 4 on the 1 acre, but kind of the discussion happened of, where are you as the township in terms of your ability to enforce anything or make any changes? And one of the things that kind of comes up with this is any changes that we would make, kind of technically, without a level of enforcement, anybody who would be in violation right now technically would be, if we did make a change, would be existing non-conformance, right? It would be one of the ways that could be interpreted, so.
Why would that be when the ordinance
States
has been,
if we made a change to that, correct, actually, like.
if we make a
If we
change?
make a change to that, yes, yes. So as it stands, like I said, the decision coming of the amount, one, the rooster not being allowed to be there, 2, the amount of chickens that are there. I think, one of the discussions that we talked about within that is, yes, the ordinance does say within these 4, but you've bought I don't wanna say aftermarket product, but you've bought, a product which technically, as it states, the specifications state that it can handle the amount of animals that's in it. The problem is with our ordinance, there's no stipulation within that if someone has that, right? The wording is no free range and only an amount per acreage, as well as the limiting factors of, anybody with a smaller lot like his, is gonna be impossible to meet it because of the 65-foot setback. So, actually, if I wanna continue, we'll go
Yeah. Um,
from there.
So I think, outside of the discussion of how to handle the current violation, I think the bigger conversation is how you wanna handle it going forward. What I've seen in the past is a zoning compliance permit that you could make people apply for with the township, just to say, I am getting chickens, I will have them in a coop, show a little plot plan, sketch diagram, that they're meeting the setbacks. With that, you could apply a permit fee. In the town that I worked for, it was $35, and that helps go towards enforcement of the ordinance. So if your enforcement officer has to go out there, you have a pot of money already set aside for that. Usually in that case, it helps prevent violations because you can talk to someone at the beginning of the process before they go and buy and put all the money into buying a coop, and that can handle 20 chickens plus. You can have that conversation with them at the start. So that would be my recommendation, is to implement a zoning permit in association with these chickens. It'd be like getting a fence permit or anything else that you already do with the township. So that's my recommendation.
Questions?
So in other words, in this situation, he'd be pretty much grandfathered, the old term grandfather? Or since he's in violation, he's not?
Yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
already in violation.
period, in violation.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 for the rooster, and 2 for the amount that you have on there, as well as, like we talked last time, there is stipulations within there of, is it within a setback, is it within X amount of feet of a property line, is it X amount of foot of the structure of the neighbor? So all those combined without having, like, actually talking about when somebody would come in for a permit for the first time, they would have that plat that says, they're gonna be here, I'm gonna be this far away, I'm not gonna have this amount of animals. So depending on what comes out of the research prior to this, we're gonna decision.
Did anybody complain? No?
No.
Are you surrounded by other 1 acre properties, or are you surrounded by farms?
1 acre properties. I'm more or less like, I'm just up from Pine Road Market.
Okay.
So I'm in the beginning section of where you start to get into like the bigger acre and a half lots, whatnot. And then I am looking into purchasing the property next to me. He's actually in the process of tearing that down now, so hoping to move forward with that like beginning of next year.
And how long has this been here?
going on 2 years.
What happened, and if I could be wrong with this, but I think the story is that the zoning officer was in the area for some other reason. And she came across his property because he heard a rooster. And so there was no outside complaint for her to be there. She happened there due to a different concern. And the concern was that you dumped something in the drainage ditch.
So she was condemning the house next to me, the one I put on fire, the one I'm looking to purchase once it's removed. Whenever I first bought the property, the whole back 3/4 of the, or not 3/4, roughly over half of an acre was all woodland, thick willow trees and CRP grass, you know, like all overgrown. Couldn't tell there was a pipe, so I started clearing off of Maple Avenue. And in my process of clearing, I ended up covering the sewer drain lateral for the catch basin. And then when Keystone Tree Tech's wood pile went up, they tried pumping water off Pond Run Market, they broke that water line. And then I guess that's what they noticed, that, you know, that drain was covered at that time. And then she came over to condemn that house. Linedecker asked her to check on that pipe to make sure that it was flowing, because I brought a machine in and dug that out and, you know, redid that. And then while she was back there inspecting the pipe, she heard a rooster, which on that road, like 2 doors to the left, that guy has a rooster as well. So that's not to even say it was my rooster per se that she did hear. But that's more or less the spiel of it.
There's been no complaint filed against him, but she cited him because what she found. So, after reading the report that Paolo submitted, I agree with him. And, you know, you're obviously in violation of the chicken issue. But you're saying you'll take care of the rooster.
Yeah, that's no issue.
How come you didn't already do that?
I was waiting, my uncle's gonna be taking whatever I can't keep. He's down in Greene County. So rather than him making the trip up to get one rooster, I'm gonna wait to see what the outcome is and then have him remove everything.
Okay. I'm not giving a final opinion. I'm just saying, based on his report, I agree with his report.
Okay.
You know, you're exceeding the amount of chickens we allow. You would have to argue your side that, you know, you have them in a coop, they're not free ranging. I do believe when we wrote the ordinance, we wrote it more leaning to the free range issue. So, if this doesn't get resolved between the 3 parties, and I want one of you to represent LSS in that group. I want them to be party to the discussion of what they're all discussing. Seems to be a couple different issues. I just report up to it tonight, so I don't know what's what. But the zoning officer, the code officer, and the manager are working on the issue. And I want LSS to be involved as well. And if there is a recommendation of maybe how we could change a sentence or imply something, you know, we obviously should consider it. I would not be in favor of that, because I think we spent a lot of time writing it, and I thought we covered all the issues. I thought to say something new can't come forward.
Yeah.
So, I just want LSS to be involved in that, whichever way that goes. Possibly, you know, your way out of this would be to go to the zoning hearing board and bring up all the issues that you did to us last meeting. And it sounds like you have a good case. I don't know how they would rule on that, on anything particular. But, you know, I think that's probably what you're gonna end up having to do. But I think we gotta wait and see, we get the four parties together, review what they're reviewing, I'm really not sure what they are reviewing. And, see what comes out of that. And then, they would go to you and say what they come up with. And then you would have to make a decision
Okay.
of what to do from there.
Now, would that be kind of like this style setting, or would that be like a more of a one-on-one type of?
It's very much like this one. The zoning hearing board's a three-member board. They hear your issue, your side of the problem, and they apply it to the ordinance. I think what you might have going for you, and I just say maybe, I have no idea, is that the three parties right now are discussing it. They must have something up their sleeve that the reason they can't just say you're in violation, too bad. So they must be either thinking of something or implying interpretation of the actual ordinance. And then I want LSS to be involved because they were the ones that helped write it when we wrote it. And that would give us the opportunity to put the planning commission's comments in the argument. And then whatever they come up with, if it's not in your favor, then I would recommend, probably, they may well recommend you go to the zoning hearing board. I think that's where your next step would be.
Okay.
Because the way I read it and the way I see it, you're in violation. But there might be some wording in there, as a lot of attorneys do. They take it and look at all the ins, buts, and ors. And you might have some sliver of a possibility in there to come up with something. The rooster is definitely an out. The other thing you might have going for you is the property that you're talking about buying. I don't know how far ahead you are with that at this point, but it might help the situation. I don't know. The plans and the stuff that we're shown really doesn't show too much of that.
Does it abut this property? Because the email I was reading, somebody's questioning whether
It's a question there.
Okay.
Are you buying the property
To the right,
specifically about your property?
right next to my property, yes, it's
The
adjacent.
way he wrote this is he says, the way he looked at it, the property you may be buying does not abut your property. There's a piece of property in between. And he's saying maybe it's due because we have the wrong address.
It could be. I'm 235, it's 265. And 285 is the white and green house next to that one.
He's questioning it.
Yeah.
And he says it might be the wrong address that was given in the testimony.
Okay.
So they might call you and say, come in and help clarify that.
Okay. Yeah, that's not an issue.
So,
What's the size of the parcel you're considering buying?
It's another, just over a third of an acre, so it would take me up to where I'm actually over an acre by 8 thousandths of an acre. So then it would put me into the 1 to 3 acre category instead of under the 1, which I mean doesn't really do much for the case since it's only 2 more chickens. But, it would
every
help
little
me
bit helps.
meet
What?
It would help me meet the off the property line for the structure.
Correct, yeah.
Then at that point, so
If
that would
you
help
have,
out.
if you don't have any neighbors actually complaining,
Yeah.
would also be helpful. The only negative I've seen directly is you got the rooster there.
Mhm.
And I'd do everything possible to get that taken care of because that's gonna hound you right up to whenever a final decision is gonna be made. But I do think that, as I recall, in writing the ordinance, free range was a big issue of how we interpret chickens and running around. But I ride around the township, they're all over the place, in my opinion. So, but you're trying to do it by, agriculturally following the terms of chickens and how to take care of them.
Mhm.
And that probably will get you somewhere if you're doing it right, and you say you are. You gave us all that information, so that might be what they're all thinking about as well. So,
I do think your numbers are wrong, because you said it was 265 that you wanted to purchase.
Yes, sir.
I think the email says 285.
Okay, yeah, I might have.
So
I might
that
have
might
mistyped
be
that.
part of the
Confusion.
Yeah,
just
'cause
before it goes
285
too
like
far.
4 acres,
You
yes.
might want to clear that
That's
up.
probably the confusion of the lots.
And your opportunity with the zoning hearing board as well too, if we could just give you help, if we could help you out with that as well. Pennsylvania's gonna make any kind of request on the zoning board, with 5 cases that you're gonna hit.
this report didn't go
So,
to,
you have an ordinance that's stringent, that your property doesn't meet,
Sent to you.
so technically, you could ask for that variance.
Okay.
The rest of it, between bringing of the character now, when you hit those 5 items, the determine to the character of the neighborhood, that'd be up to you on how you make that argument, because technically it is out of violation and it's a potential nuisance. But if you could prove, don't have somebody beside you, don't have anything to do, and you're making the best faith effort, it might be on your side.
So that'd be almost on the lines of like a petition. Like had everybody send the neighborhood.
Somebody, they call it a zoning,
Show.
a zoning variance. It's, when you hit it, it's the 5 levels that you have to meet, you know, because of the shape of your property. That's not your fault, that's how it was in perpetuity.
Yep.
You didn't cause it, except for you're technically trying to have it, but you're allowed to have them. You know, even if you read the ordinance, you're allowed to have a pen.
Mm.
It's just the idea of your size and where it's located, so I will go with it from that.
Can I ask a couple questions? Just trying to understand everything. So are your structures permanent or movable?
Everything's movable.
Okay.
Nothing is actually sunk into the ground. The only thing that's physically sunk in the ground is the fence line, but
Okay.
that can
And
also
then
be pulled.
On your sketch of what you're proposing, if you get that additional property, you have that purple section.
Yes.
Is that, once you get that other property, you're looking to build a permanent?
That would be,
structure?
technically it wouldn't be permanent because it
But
would
it would
also be
still be-
movable. That would be like a, roll-in shed,
Okay.
so then that way it'd be on skis, so if
it would,
they'd
it'd
need
be
to move.
movable also, so you
Yep.
could move around
in
your,
the letter. I
move them
think,
around your property.
Exactly.
And
if
what,
I'm not mistaken,
what's the purpose of the
Each-
animals,
each
just for your
paragraph
own
has
use,
one.
or?
Yeah, all personal use. We eat the eggs. The pigs I'm looking to have for slaughter. So then that way I got, you know, homegrown beef or homegrown pork.
Yeah,
And then, it's just, we moved to the country because we like
Yeah.
the country, you
no,
know?
no, I didn't know if it was for livestock club, if it was just your own personal livestock, if you were looking to start.
No, I mean, my
Yeah.
kids have shown interest in 4-H, but they're not to that point yet. They're still too young for
Just
that.
curious, that's all, just
Yep.
curious.
You don't currently have pigs,
I have 2, mini potbellies.
oh.
Yes. They're actually in the same enclosure because the pigs only require an 8x8 for sustained life, and then the goats are 135, and I'm over that for the enclosure size. Which with the proposed, if you've never had a duck egg, I will bring you some next time.
I don't need eggs.
Oh, they are phenomenal. They are the most
You
phenomenal.
lost on me.
They're way richer in nutrients and everything.
I don't like eggs. Just curious.
So that's where your case is at.
Okay.
There's very little we can do other than say you're in violation of the code. I brought LSS into the conversation to clarify what the code is. But Howlett Consulting clarified it all in a letter. Report to us. And I would think if you come in to C-Rock, clarify the property, number one,
Mm-hmm.
and then get the report of what they're trying to do, and how long it's gonna take them to come to a head, finish the discussion, and if it doesn't fall into your favor, then I think you might have a possibility of zoning hearing, but that's only a guess on my part.
Okay.
But as I started to say, they're a three-member board. They're like a court. You present your case, they apply it to the code, they say yes or no. And you have 30 days to appeal their decision. Once they write it might take them a month to write it, so you have that month plus 30 days after they issue the report.
Okay.
So it's a little more thorough than we are. Yes?
Anthony, before you leave, would you come up and write down your phone number for me? So
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Anything else on that you wanna?
My only question is with the ordinance that is in writing, with the acre and a half per like horse or cow, all that. How does that differentiate from like agricultural zoning? You know, would they be allowed to have that number of animal in a smaller enclosure? Or would they require it to be in like a larger enclosure?
I think the ordinance defines it based on if it's for personal use or commercial use, so if they're operating as a business, then it's a separate issue.
Okay.
If he does purchase the property next to his, would he have to do a consolidation and to erase that lot line to get rid of the violation on building
Correct.
distance?
Correct. Because it still exists. Yeah.
It'd have to be a consolidation. Your house is not shown on any of this stuff either.
No, I'm up above. That's, you can see the creek line?
Is that like your backyard?
Yes. Yeah, it's actually down in the valley. It's over like a, I don't know, I'd say 15-foot hill, something like that. Down there.
I don't know what significance it would have if you show your house, but I think you ought to try to show everything you can on your plot plan.
Okay. I do have that in a picture if you guys would like to see it.
The plot plan?
I have a drone picture from further out that shows everything. If you guys would
Yeah,
like it.
I would like to see it.
Okay. Do you have an email I can send it to, or?
Send it to me.
Okay.
Everything goes to the office. Okay?
Yep.
Then from our last meeting, since we're on ordinances, we discussed the situation with the zoning hearing board.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna work on that for January?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, that's the way we set it up. Is that right, Laura?
Yep.
Is that for the rewording of the corner lot ordinance,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, yes, sir. And I believe too, we talked about the setbacks and the accessory use. As it,
Yeah.
the text amendment.
Okay, that's all I had under ordinance. Educational programs, I'll just make mention of it. One of the things Joanne was gonna give us in some form is educational programs that we would be interested in throughout the year. So starting in January, you know, if you have some ideas of issues that we could, be brought to us for educational purposes, we would do that based on our agenda. So it would come from you, what you recommend, and then we would somehow fit it in to the agenda throughout the year.
Throughout the year. That's great.
Okay? Plus,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would like one, not in January, obviously, but, maybe first quarter, have come in, Katie Wicker. She's the local government planning specialist with the DCED. And she said that she would be willing to come in and talk and explain what resources they have
Who was
that
that,
are available.
who's she with?
She is the local government planning specialist with the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. So she'd come in and explain what her office, what her role is, what her office does, and what resources are available to our commission through their office.
Is that something they can contact her, or she should contact them, or what do you recommend?
That works. I met her at a seminar. She said she'd be willing to come in.
Yeah, you mentioned that last.
Mhm.
Great, we'll reach out.
And then with Jenny, I hope the supervisors approve your participation in it as well. They know about it, so no matter what they do. And Jenny, during the one we had, was anyone else interested? Let Lori know before January 6th.
Yeah,
January
yeah,
what?
in case the supervisors want to know, yes, please.
Okay. So it's educational programs, discussion. We were notified by Meadowcrest Development that they were turned down by the Environmental Protection Department. They had to file additional information, or they had to file information under a different permit. They filed the whole development under what's called a general permit. The department says that they need to file some things under, I think it's called a GP7 permit. And they're working on doing that. So they're being held up right now, but going into winter, it's not really a big deal. But they'll be filing the additional paperwork that they need to do under a GP7 permit. So just file up for more permits. Any question on that? There being none? We have a presentation to make. I'll let Ed do that.
Yeah, on behalf of the planning commission, I wanna give you
Yeah.
this.
Thank
Wishing
you.
you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
I work regularly with Lori throughout the week and month to put together an agenda and issues that I think we need to have on the agenda. And we work together quite a bit.
We do.
So besides coming to this meeting, put up with me throughout the month. So thank you. Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they want to discuss? If you don't, well, I'll ask for adjournment, and when we adjourn, Lori bought some
And Jenny,
stuff,
and Gary.
whatever that is over there.
Larry and
So after the meeting, if you all, including the audience, you wanna have just like a bottle of water and whatever else we got there. And she would probably get us a cup of coffee if we asked her to.
I would.
If you have cookies here, I want coffee. Okay, so we can adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion made to second, all in favor? Thank you all very much for your time throughout the year.